I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'm gonna tell them where I'm at. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset. I'm upset. It is I, your amazing host, Triple M, 3M, Maize Madman, Phil, Triple M Peters. I'm here with my co-host of the Maize Blue and Gold Show, Mr. Ryan Fravel. What's good, sir?
Doing pretty well, man. Notre Dame got another commitment for the 2025 class yesterday. Going to be doing an interview with him tonight, so I'm excited about that.
That is exciting. What time?
7:00 Central
Where can
Time.
people tune in?
Week 0 Productions. We'll be doing fan questions as well as some questions that me and my co-host have. But he's a 4-star recruit, formerly of St. Louis D. Cement High School, same place where Christian Gray, Kyron Williams, Jeremiah Love went there as well at one point. So yeah, I mean, they produce a lot of, great recruits, a lot of ND guys. So he's playing, I believe, now in Tampa. He switched schools this year, so he's playing in Jesuit High School in Tampa, Florida. So, but yeah, be on the lookout for that. Should be a fun interview. I've heard amazing things about this kid, so I'm excited, man. It's my second recruit interview that I've done live. My third interview overall with the recruit. So yeah, I'm excited, man.
Very nice, man. Congratulations. I'll be tuning in. Check it out. Shout out to Caden here, young Caden. Hello. Said he's been a fan and also loves Michigan. Go Blue, Caden, of course. Mello here. Mello, just checking in. Make sure have you started to size and look at, leprechaun costumes yet?
We got to know that, Mello. Like we and it's got to be unauthentic. It can't be some like cheap, Halloween USA costume. It's got to be like, you got to get some off like Amazon Prime. You feel me? Like it's got to be like in that $60 range.
Absolutely. John Mitchell, it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Yes, it is, sir. Hail, go Blue. As you guys can see, maybe you can't see it if I get my camera down just a little bit. Today's Michigan drip, of course, every day. Where would I get an authentic? You probably got to go
authentic
at the end of a rainbow somewhere.
Yeah, you might have to go get buy 100 boxes of Lucky Charms and it might just magically appear.
Right. Absolutely. But today, of course, we're going to be talking about Michigan and Notre Dame recently picking up a couple recruits. Michigan in the 2025 and 24 class, and Notre Dame obviously just picking up the 4-star that they did in the 2025 class. But first, we have to talk about it. There's been rumblings. There's been some smoke, and where there's smoke, there is fire. As you can see here, the big conference, the Big Ten, getting bigger. It seems like that's the way that it is going. I read an article today where the Big Ten has, since the instability of the Pac-12 with Colorado now leaving, obviously USC and UCLA will be joining the big next season. With that instability, there have been talks of the Big Ten accepting Oregon and Washington, and it doesn't stop there because they've even talked to some ACC schools, including Clemson and Florida State. And some people say the Clemson thing is a done deal. So I'm sure if Clemson is on board, then Florida State will be too. Let's talk about it. Ryan, let us know in the comment section what you guys think of it. We'll get to your questions and your statements here in a second.
So first of all, I don't know how that works necessarily with the Big Ten. I know that it's to qualify to join the conference, you have to be an AAU school.
Right.
I believe as of right now, Clemson and Florida State are
They're
not,
not. Right.
and the only schools I believe that are considered AAU schools in the ACC conference are North Carolina and Georgia Tech. So I'm not too sure how that works. I don't know how quickly you can get AAU verified, how that process works, but it's kind of odd to me that they would make this move knowing what they need to accomplish to join the conference, but
Right.
also the ACC contract that they would have to pay, the amount of money that they would have to pay for the ACC to release them from the conference. It's not like the Pac-12 where the Pac-12 didn't have anything in place to protect themselves in case this were to happen. The ACC has it to where if you leave within the next 10 years, you got to play. It's like something in the $100 million range, a couple $100 million to get out of that contract, which I know we think all these schools have money, but I don't care who you are, what school you are, that's going to hurt financially. So I will see about that. I think what's more likely is what we saw additionally to that was the Oregon and Washington news. I think that's more likely to happen sooner than later.
Right.
But overall, I think if this does happen, we need to stop calling it the Big Ten Conference. We just got to call it the huge conference. It's not big anymore. It's huge.
Right. No, I agree. I think so you're right about the AAU thing. In order to qualify, that is the standard. However, I do believe in somebody in the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong, because since they've been in the Big Ten, Nebraska has lost their AAU standard or certification, and I don't know if that happened before they joined, like the year they joined right before, or since they've been in the conference. But either way, that kind of sets a precedent of teams or of a school that that's part of the conference that doesn't necessarily qualify or under that standard, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this, because you're a Big Ten fan. Do you think that this ruins college football, if we end up with a bidding war with the Big Ten and the SEC, and it kind of cannibalizes the other conferences? Because I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever USC and UCLA to the Big Ten, whatever, like that's fine, because moves happen throughout history. But I just don't like the whole. At some point, Pac-12 is not going to be a thing. The ACC won't be a thing, and kids that grow up liking college football won't understand the history, like of the conference rivalries, like not just for football, but you're looking at basketball. The Duke North Carolina rivalries. Like North Carolina's been linked to the SEC. What I feel like that's going to be such an issue. I don't think that they should be doing this. I can't say that it's they can't because it's money reasons. But do you think it ruins college football?
I do to some degree. I've spoken on this before. And really quick, Mello makes a good point here, where apparently FSU hasn't worked out, where the big would actually gain some money, and with Clemson and FSU joining, even Oregon and Washington, that the price tag for the TV deals definitely has to go up, you would think. So we'll obviously figure that out. Although I do think that they just signed something, so I don't know exactly how it would work out. And I was hearing like 66 million at one point to buy out like Clemson, which isn't too daunting. Yeah. And I do think some of this responsibility will fall on the individual schools, because they obviously want to leave too. I'm sure the big will help out where it can, but a lot of the responsibility will fall on the individual schools as well. That being said, back to your question, I do think that this is harmful for college football. obviously it is, some of the, and I hate this word, but people older than us use it, but like some of the pageantry will fade. A lot of those rivalries, like you're talking about, we've seen it happen with basketball, right? With Syracuse and a bunch of those old Big East schools that
Syracuse and
joined the
UConn used to
ACC.
be huge, and nobody
Exactly,
talks about it
Syracuse
anymore.
UConn was a big one. Even like St. John's, and you know what I mean, the temples of the world, all of those schools, like and what happened with them. But I do think this looks like it's really two conferences that are going to be dominant in terms of swallowing up or cannibalizing, as you said, these other universities, and that's the Big Ten and the SEC. The Big 12 is doing what they can do, and maybe they hold out as like a third power conference, but it looks like the Pac-12 and the ACC are going to be the victims of all of this in the end.
Believe it or not, I feel like the Big 12 and the Pac-12 will be the two, sides that will fall. Not the ACC, just because, well, the ACC might be the weakest. The ACC has its, like I said, this was 5-10 years ago when they made this, where they have a voting system to protect themselves. The conference cannot fall apart. Like, they cannot disband. So for Clemson and FSU to leave, there has to be a majority vote for them to be able to leave, along with the payout. So what ends up happening is, say Clemson and FSU say, hey, we want to leave. We got the money to buy out. The ACC board members from each school have to sit around and say, hey, like, let's vote on it. It's kind of what they did with the South Carolina situation, where they voted South Carolina out of the conference. I don't know if you remember that years ago. Because South Carolina used to be an ACC school, for people that don't know that. But that's where I feel like the ACC is smart, because they've protected themselves. They saw this happening years and years and years ago. That's a big reason why they've been trying to push to get Notre Dame in the ACC for years.
Yeah. And I think, which, by the way, we're going to talk about after. In fact, I guess you brought it up, we can move on to that, because what does it mean exactly for, and people may not want to hear this, but specifically for Notre Dame, because they are really the prize, if you will, for both the Big Ten and the SEC. And the SEC did a lot of things, as Mello pointed out. The SEC has a lot of blame at their feet in this, because even when negotiating things like the playoffs and how Notre Dame would be able to make the playoffs and things like that, it was talked the SEC really kind of played against the Big Ten to allow Notre Dame in without a conference championship game and things like that, which I understand, because they do play a tough schedule as well. And I think the Big Ten was kind of trying to force their hand, like, yo, without a championship game, their record means less than it does for a Big Ten champion or a SEC champion or even a Pac-12 champion.
I think it was,
like,
if I
the argument
remember
there.
correctly, I believe it was split when they had that discussion. I think it was the SEC and the ACC that were like pro Notre Dame, like, hey, they don't need to join a conference to join the playoff, like, because the ACC had their own agenda, because they wanted Notre Dame to come to the ACC.
Right. Yeah.
I think the SEC was kind of in the same boat, and meanwhile, the Big 10 and the Big 12 and the Pac-12 were the ones that, like, hey, like, that's not fair. Make them join a conference.
Well, the Big Ten also had an agenda, because while the Pac-12 and the Big 12 may have been like, hey, make them join a conference and been genuine about that, the Big Ten wanted them to join the Big Ten. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, oh, yeah, make them join a conference so they join our conference, which makes the most sense. At least regionally, it made the most sense. But that being said, I do think this kind of forces their hand, especially if teams like Clemson and Florida State are leaving the ACC and joining the Big, because your main rivals, all of your rivals, then pretty much are in the Big Ten conference. Not only that, but what does playing a ACC schedule mean now if you don't have to play one of those
The
two
best
teams
school
every
you
year?
would play at that point would be North
North
Carolina.
Carolina State, maybe North
North Carolina
Carolina,
State,
right?
Louisville, maybe. Duke. I mean, Duke's
Miami,
on the up and
maybe
up.
sometimes.
Depending on if Miami joins the SEC, which for God, I
Right.
don't know why the SEC wants Miami. But
Yeah.
maybe so Florida can have an easy win every year. But no, like I don't know, man. I think I'm not one of those people that's like, the elderly people that are like, the pageantry and the Rose Bowl doesn't mean anything anymore because of the playoff.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. But I don't like it for the regionality of it and the rivalries. Because let me ask you this. What, not just for Notre Dame, but Michigan, the game means a lot to college football.
Right.
But if this ends up being like the Big 20 and you've got teams like Clemson, USC, Florida State, Ohio State, Penn State, say you add, I don't know, some other good, or Oregon and Washington on the schedule. Do you think Michigan having that type of schedule where it's so brutal, where you're playing a top 25 team, maybe a top 15 team every week, do you think that lessens the importance and kind of minimizes the game as a rivalry? Because how I look at it is, if you're playing this daunting schedule and you're playing a top 15 team every week, say, for instance, Michigan and Ohio State are beat up because they play a tough schedule and they play that rivalry game at the end of the season. Do you think that means as much?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it means maybe it doesn't mean as much. It's like importance to the conference maybe drop some, but I do think it's like the biggest game still. You know what I mean? It's like still Michigan, Ohio State, that matters. And I do think though that it takes I think this is my personal opinion. If those teams join, whatever happens with the conferences, let's say it's the two super conferences, Big Ten, SEC, and it happens like it's happening now, right? We get Florida State, Clemson, Oregon, Washington, along with USC, UCLA. They get Texas, Oklahoma, Miami. Maybe they grab North Carolina State. I don't know who else is left out there, whatever, right? Texas Tech even, whatever, right? Let's say it plays out that way. I think that matters less than the 12-team playoff in terms of hurting the rivalry. I think the 12-team playoff hurts the rivalry potentially more than all these teams, joining two conferences, because you could potentially have Michigan and Ohio State play 3 games. I mean, I know it's far-fetched and the odds are low on it, but they could potentially meet 3 times in one season, and that hurts the rivalry or that last game.
Yeah, and also, like, if you think about it, like, say Michigan's 12-0 going into the or not 12-0, 11-0 going into that Ohio State game.
Right.
But say Ohio State is, I don't know, 9-2, and they're fighting for their playoff lives. But Michigan is like, man, even if we lose this game, we're guaranteed a spot.
Exactly. Right.
That at that point, it's like, it's not about the rivalry anymore. It's like, oh, well, I don't care about beating Ohio State anymore as much as I just care about making the playoff. Which to me, it's like, that is so wrong. And if I was a Michigan fan or an Ohio State fan, I'd be like, that defeats the whole purpose of the rivalry, because the rivalry typically means the winner goes to the playoff, the national championship game, not just the Big Ten title. It has huge implications.
I agree. And here's the craziest part is, fans, as much as like we are about to be upset about this now, people have been asking for something like this, right? People have been asking for, why don't the best teams play each other, throughout the season or whatever, right? Stop playing the stop playing the Hawaiis, even the Citadels of the world, right? Just play each other. That's what people have been saying for, years now. Now they're about to get it, and now they're going to be complaining about that for the reasons that we brought up here. I am one of them, right? I was one of those people, like, man, why are we even playing Appalachian State? Turns out it was why are we playing this team that's beating our ass at home. But you know what I mean? Like that was the thing. Like, what are we even playing some of these teams for when we could just play Clemson, right? Schedule Clemson, schedule Washington. You know what I mean? And now it looks like that's gonna be the schedule. So it does like make it it's gonna be tougher to win your conference championships, which I like. However, it's gonna take away a little bit of like what college football really was and meant for so many years.
Now, I wonder, because I was going to ask this, with USC joining the Big Ten, Notre Dame, all of Notre Dame's rivals are technically out of conference because, that's an out of conference game. How does that work with the Big Ten scheduling? Is the Big Ten going to allow USC to play Notre Dame still every single year? Or is that going to be like shut down? Like, USC might play Notre Dame once every 4 years. And then they alternate that. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so as it stands now, I think if nothing happens, right? If these other 4 teams don't join, as it stands now, I think there's 2 like open slots for every
non-con.
team, 2 non-cons, right? So I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. Now, whether the Big Ten would say, "Hey, you can't play Notre Dame," I just don't think that makes sense for the conference. Number one. And for USC definitely doesn't make sense for them. But I do think it was a move to kind of again force Notre Dame, force their hand, and I think that's what a lot of the Big Ten moves have been over the last several years. Moves to kind of like force their hand, because let's be real, it's a huge brand. Notre Dame is a massive brand, and whatever conference ends up adding them, if they add them, they're going to, gain a lot of notoriety and eyes on their conference.
So really quick, because, we were talking about what does this mean for Notre Dame? So Notre Dame's current athletic director, who will be stepping down in January when our new athletic director comes in, he was asked about it a month ago. And when he found out the news of, what he thought about the current landscape of college football, where Notre Dame sits. And he said him personally that thinks that now is the perfect time for Notre Dame to be independent because of the value. Because the longer Notre Dame's independent, the more teams are going to start talking about Notre Dame. The more conferences are going to start talking about Notre Dame. The more they're going to want Notre Dame. The more money that will be offered at some point to land Notre Dame. And he thinks that Notre Dame's fine where it says right now. But like I said, the new athletic director that's coming in, I said he's very, very pro Notre Dame to the Big Ten, which I'll say this, for people that want Notre Dame to join a conference, it won't be happening within the next couple of seasons. I think the earliest it happens, and I think it will happen, is 2026. So for people that don't know, Notre Dame's new athletic director that will be taking effect in January is one of the guys. He was the lead guy that got the deal done with NBC and the Big Ten for, the primetime games. So he knows what it's like dealing with money and getting deals done. So we will see Notre Dame join a conference. It's going to end up being like, I think it might take Notre Dame missing the playoff maybe for them to kind of force that.
If Notre Dame misses the 12-team playoff, then they deserve to miss the playoffs.
Let me ask you this, though, Phil. Because obviously, the Group of 5 conferences pushed hard for the 12-team playoff because they want to be guaranteed a spot, and I think that I believe that they are guaranteed one, right? The best Group of 5 champion, as seen by the committee. So how does that work?
Although I don't know if it's super conferences, but that's the thought for sure. How does it work if you have 2 super conferences?
Yeah, are you
I don't know. I thought about that earlier today. I said because then especially if those teams that we're talking about join from the ACC, from the Pac-12, like why would the Pac-12 still be a Power 5 conference? What makes them Power 5 in that situation, right? I don't necessarily know if they're a Power 5 conference with Utah and Arizona State, Arizona, Oregon State, right? Washington State.
So Mello says that 6 spots automatically are gone for the conference champs. So Power 5 and then the best group of 5 conference. Yeah.
Right.
Or group 5.
So speaking of Mello's saying this, a bunch of people have said some good things in the chat here, including Moose says that he's hearing Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal. I don't know. I mean, those all make sense for the Big Ten, for the AAU reason.
I don't know why you guys want Cal or Stanford.
That's what I was going to say, because I think if we add Stanford, then we should be pushing even harder to add Notre Dame, right? If you get Oregon, Washington, Stanford, then Notre Dame should definitely be the 4th team.
No, you guys should like get Stanford and Cal and then be like, all right, guys, you guys and Rutgers can go play in the Ivy League. We'll pay you guys to go over there and play in the Ivy League.
Right.
That's what I would do. Oh, and Northwestern. Northwestern can go there too. Because nobody's going to have time to be playing Northwestern and Rutgers.
Right. Well, so, and I'm sorry, get into some other comments. Leo says some of those level 2 teams depend on big payday from playing the big boys. That is a fact too, Leo, but I'm not sure if it matters to the bigger conferences that those other teams need those paydays, right? I think it's been a good thing. It's been working out for them. Absolutely. But if this happens, then I'm pretty sure that playing those teams just doesn't make a lot of sense. Mello actually brought up another point about Notre Dame and USC. If they join and if the conference expands even more, why would it'll be up to USC, but why would USC want to add that Notre Dame game on to potentially, be another loss or a loss period, potentially.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And some other stuff I was just thinking about. Do you think with the 12-team playoff, especially if we have the super conferences, how likely is it that if we see an 8-4 Alabama team, their fans still can complain that they should be in the playoff?
Yeah.
No, they're gonna be like, no, we're 8-4. We should be in the playoff.
Yeah. And they certainly will. So I want to get some more because people are bringing up some good points over here. So if the Big Ten eats up the Pac-12, does the SEC eat up the ACC?
Yeah, that's what I'd assume.
Sure. Probably leftover ACC and Big 12. That's true too. I can see the SEC dipping in the Big 12 too. Although the Big 12 is trying to put up a good fight to keep their conference alive and stuff like that.
They added some really good quality teams to the conference.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even teams like Cincinnati, that's a good team. Did they add Tulane?
No, not yet. Tulane is not. But they got, I believe it's not Tulane. UCF, Houston, Cincinnati, and why am I blanking on the other one?
BYU. Why haven't they added SMU?
BYU.
They gotta add SMU.
SMU's got a lot of stuff going on right now. They lost 30 scholarship players.
Of course they did. They just can't help it. UCF, BYU. You're right. Yep. Yeah, Josh. I mean,
BYU is a really big get. I didn't even think about that. That is actually a really big get. I mean, the Pac-12 has been wanting BYU for years.
Why? I get it. BYU they play decent football. I'm not mad at it, but I don't know if it's a money maker. Is it a big money maker? I don't know. But I do like what they've done with dipping back in to get Colorado. That makes sense. You know what? They could take Nebraska back.
Yeah.
And I don't no, I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm not trying to slight Nebraska. I'm just saying if the Big is adding the teams that they're adding, I think they got to think about dropping some teams too. And why not
Well,
Nebraska? Why not?
because like if they add Colorado, so they're
Right.
adding. Who else are they going to add? Because that's 15 teams right there. So they have
Yeah.
to add another one to make it even. With that, maybe that is SMU or Tulane, maybe.
Right. Mello says starting next year, he doesn't see any team ever going undefeated in the Big Ten or the SEC. That's strong.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's too brutal. I mean,
Strong.
the only gimmies that you guys will have on your schedule, maybe
Lil Bro Nil.
like Lil Bro now. They're going to hate the Super Big Ten. Like they're going to hate that.
They're going to hate the Super Saiyan Big Ten.
Michigan State actually might just like be like, yeah, guys,
we're going to the Big 12.
We're going to the Big 12. But no, like
we're joining the MAC.
Now, like Rutgers is in for a rude
definitely lose Rutgers.
Who else? Illinois. Well, they were good last year. I don't know if they'll be good this year, but maybe Illinois.
Like these are teams I would consider dropping.
Like Northwestern,
Minnesota. I mean, I get it. Minnesota has a lot of rivalries in the conference.
They've been all right. I mean,
they're okay. They're definitely okay. I'm just saying we could do without them. Northwestern, I don't think the Big Ten will ever drop just because they're trying to keep some level of prestige that Northwestern has. So Northwestern brings a certain level of prestige. That being said, if they add Stanford, why not drop Northwestern?
Exactly. So Phil, let's ask the questions real quick, or the comments. Who did you guys drop? Like, we need a list. Like,
yes. In the comment section, give us 4 teams that you would drop out of the Big to make room for.
And then who else?
4 more teams.
The SEC too. Like, who would you guys drop? Like Vanderbilt. Vandy. Who else are you?
Yeah, Joe Torres brings up a good point. Little Brown Jug, I get it. And they got, like I said, Minnesota has a bunch of rivalries within the conference. It makes sense to keep them around.
They haven't been bad enough to like get kicked out.
No, they're not a horrible team. And I like their coach. Is it PJ Fleck?
He had some stuff come out about him. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, really?
Being
drop UCLA.
Even though they're joining,
they're not even there yet. Drop them.
Rutgers, Indiana, Purdue, Iowa. I don't know about Purdue just because
he's diluting the Michigan-Ohio State game. Again, we agree. There's too many heavyweights to rehash rematches. Again, we agree. I'd rather protect the game.
Move to the Big 12.
Move to the Big 12. Right.
You got to have weak teams for practice. Wait, or you could just keep Rutgers, Indiana, and just use them for like your 7-on-7s or like
we can't not have Indiana, right?
Your spring game.
I would drop Purdue over Indiana.
Really?
I would do that.
Purdue's
not necessarily for football purposes, because I do think Purdue year over year is a better football team, at least in recent memory.
And they've had huge upsets. They always upset somebody.
That's fair. But I'm just saying Indiana has the Hoosiers. You know, they got a movie made after Hoosiers. Bobby Knight was a legendary coach. I mean, I get it. Like basketball isn't football and it doesn't make money like football does.
Well, let me ask you this. If you get Notre Dame,
Indiana's a better brand.
If you get Notre Dame, would you then drop Indiana? Because like you already have Indiana. Okay. Right,
like a bad habit. Drop them. Right.
Bring Notre Dame.
You need those cupcake games. The schedule is going to be super. That's a fact. Schedule is going to be crazy if they just play.
You Ohio State fans are used to playing NIU every year in Toledo. Mizzou,
Vandy. I mean that makes sense.
You know what? Mizzou could go. You know, I didn't realize this.
Mizzou can go back to the weren't they?
They were Big 12.
12. Yeah, they can go back.
You know, Missouri actually has a rivalry with Illinois. That's a football rivalry. I didn't know that.
I did not know that, but that works out because the Big 12 can take them and Illinois.
But what was I going to say? Josh also said Michigan State to the MAC.
Michigan State to the MAC.
Hey, they actually
Absolutely.
might win something. Was it? I think the MAC champion was a 7-5 Toledo team last year, which is crazy.
Damn it. UCLA. Bro, I'm still mad Steph said drop UCLA before they even get there.
Wait, you're
Drop
drop.
'em.
Wait, William says Big Ten drop Rutgers, Indiana, Northwestern, and Maryland. Why Maryland?
I mean, that makes sense.
I guess Maryland could go back to the ACC or what's left.
What's left of the ACC? Make a new conference. I don't know. What's Rutgers going to do? Like, why did we add Rutgers? Somebody
Because
tell me
Rutgers
that.
was good in like 2007.
They wanted the New York market, I guess. But why Rutgers? Rutgers is
No,
the New York
Rutgers fans even say that nobody cares about Rutgers.
I went to a few years, and I think I told this story a few years ago. I went to a Rutgers home game. They were playing the other state, by the way, which actually just was like a home game for the other state. You can imagine.
Oh yeah,
it was just full of their fans. It was a night game too, and I went with my sister and my cousin, who are both fans of that vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, and it was like it was like Columbus again. It wasn't even a Rutgers game. It was just Columbus in New Jersey.
yeah.
Bad. Columbus, New Jersey is what it was.
Wait, what about so Moose says
Hello
Michigan
said I'm from Jersey.
Moose said Michigan State would probably be mid in the MAC. Poor little bro.
That's disrespectful.
The Big East will rise again, so just have everyone go to the Big East.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I do think they should drop some teams if they're gonna add some teams, though.
Yeah, you know what I feel like is an interesting team to add for the Big Ten. I feel like it would be so cool for you guys to have like Kansas State, Oklahoma State, just because like I feel like they kind of got that Midwestern vibe almost, especially Kansas State. I'm surprised. Like I feel like those would be huge gets for the Big Ten.
I feel
These
like
are really competitive teams too.
Kansas State, maybe Iowa State probably makes a little more sense. Than Oklahoma State. Although Oklahoma State's a better football program.
You could have if you had Oklahoma State, you could have the battle of the real OSUs. Oklahoma State, Ohio State. Who's the real OSU?
Yeah.
And then who's the UOS? That's University of Oklahoma State or Ohio State.
That's crazy. Mello says in Jersey, you're either a OSU, Notre Dame, or Penn State fan. No love to Rutgers.
Penn State fan, gross. Oh.
Gatlin Bear coming up on the 5th. I heard it's between Michigan and Boise. It is. I'm actually hearing Boise is in the lead, which is weird and disgusting at the same time.
Hey, Seth, don't be disrespecting Kansas like that. Jalen Daniels.
If you add Kansas and drop low, bro, we get nowhere. Yeah.
Jalen Daniels is better than any quarterback Michigan State's ever had.
Damn it. He's better than Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
Wow.
Bro, that is a fact. Okay, outside of Kirk
Moose,
Cousins.
I know I don't want to believe it either, but they're saying that the in-state Boise State is in the lead right now.
Boise
State. Yeah.
Since when is Michigan losing recruiting battles to Boise State?
Man, don't get me started on Michigan and losing recruiting battles. I'm still not over what happened on.
What happened to Bennett Warren?
Again, another one.
It's been rough, huh?
Yeah,
it's been rough.
Mello says y'all don't want. We do want him. I know it will be 2 years. He is going on that
mission trip.
Latter-day Saints, the LDS 2-year sabbatical, if you will. That being said, he's the fastest kid in America.
Real quick, I want to get what people think. Like, no bias. What do you guys think of the Notre Dame's green jerseys that are wearing against Ohio State?
Disgusting.
You didn't like them?
I didn't like it.
You didn't think they were fire? I thought they were pretty fire. They brought back the 80s green color.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I like the green jerseys. Maybe the Jets have ruined green jerseys for me.
And there's rumors that Ohio State is going to ask the NCAA, because I guess technically you have to wear white if you're an OA team. Like, you can't wear colored uniforms. Ohio State is trying to ask the NCAA permission to wear the gray unis, the all ones that they unveiled, against Notre Dame. So it would be all gray versus all green. Kind of like what Florida. You remember what Florida and Michigan did in that bowl game a couple years ago, where they both wore the colored unis?
Yeah,
kind of the same thing. What do you think? I feel like that would be the best dressed college football game ever.
Yeah, I like it. I think that'll be cool. In fact, some people have been trying to get like for the game, Michigan to wear like the all maize and OSU to wear the all red.
You guys should do like an alternate. Like, I know you guys do the all yellow and the all blue, but like, what's your third? Do you guys have a third color? Is it just white?
White, yeah.
Michigan
doesn't switch it up at all, and there's a bunch of traditionalists that like it. I do think that switching it up sometimes would be pretty dope. Even the helmet, there's so many things you could do with that helmet that I think would be dope. But they just don't do it.
I saw, Josh, because Josh says that would suck because that wouldn't work out. Colorblind people would suffer. You know what? I saw Ohio State fans on Twitter saying that they'd rather see Ohio State wear the all reds.
Yeah.
Against Notre Dame in the all greens, and people were like, what is this, a Christmas game?
Yeah.
But no,
so wait, you guys are wearing all green. It's all green.
Yep.
All right, maybe I'm thinking about something else. Maybe I need to go watch that thing again. Because I didn't finish it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you sent me the link.
Did I? Hold on.
Did you add me? Or maybe it was Dallas fan. Dallas fan probably added me and sent me that thing. I'm pretty sure it was. And I saw like the play on, show me the money.
Show me the money.
So I didn't finish it. I didn't watch the whole thing because
this is what they look like.
Disgusts me.
Let me pull this up.
They're vile.
I thought they're cool. They're cool looking just because they're like kind of throwbacks. They're like reverse throwbacks, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is what they look like.
This isn't too bad.
I mean, so if you look back at like what the old ones were, how like the green is like reverse. So like what they were trying to do is like back in the 70s when we first unveiled the green jerseys, they were called green jerseys, but really it was just white jersey with green numbers.
Yeah.
And so it was the white, all white jersey with the green you see on that jersey with like the white trim. But now they just re-inverted it basically. Give me Marshall or App State over Kansas, drop low, bro.
God, that's disrespectful.
Oh,
I think the all green looks ugly.
Really?
Who says? Man.
Is that just because you're a Michigan fan, or is it because you? I mean, I could be a Notre Dame fan, and I still think Michigan's unis are fire. Like,
Michigan has the best unis.
I'm jealous that you guys have Jordan. I don't know if you saw Notre Dame re-signed with freaking Under Armour, but did you guys? We re-signed with Under Armour, but let's hear me out, Phil. The reason we did is Under Armour gave Notre Dame the biggest sports apparel deal in college football history. That's why.
I'm not mad at it. Look, that's cool. That's all good, man. But
Nike wasn't willing to give Notre Dame the bag.
Do you want kids to go there?
Yes. But Notre Dame wants their money, man. Nike wasn't willing to offer it.
He said, I signed just to get the Jays.
Yeah, that's what I would like. You know how cool? Like, I love Ohio State's like custom, or not Ohio State. They don't get it because they're not Jordan brand.
No.
Michigan's custom Air Force One cleats. Those are
Right.
sick. Like Notre Dame, like could you imagine a gold like play on the the Golden Dome, like a custom made Notre Dame Air Force One? That would
Right.
look so sick, especially if you could integrate like the paint, like the real gold in the paint that they use for the helmets on the shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Oh
I mean,
man, we
I like
go
what
ahead.
Under Armour's done. I like what like with the last two jerseys. I thought the one from last year we wore against BYU, those were sick. I like the green that they unveiled, but like kids just don't want to wear Under Armour. They don't.
Yeah, I mean, look, so I think Dallas fan wanted you guys to sign to like Puma, bro.
What the hell? What?
Everybody on your team currently would have left if you signed to Puma.
Dude, the only thing
No
keeping
disrespect
Under
to
Armour,
Puma, because I know Hove and like Emory Jones and stuff are over there, but it's Puma.
and you know what's sad? Notre Dame is the only thing keeping Under Armour from going bankrupt, which is sad because people would think, oh, it's Steph Curry. His shoes don't sell. Like, believe it or not, people love Steph Curry, but they won't buy his shoes. Why is that, Phil? Why won't
Because they're Under Armour.
Because they're Under Armour.
Josh says Puma
Was starter an option? No, man, no. I saw some people
starter
say
in like Walmart now.
There were some people
no disrespect, and we shouldn't
wanted.
It shouldn't be this way.
What about Reebok? We're bringing Reebok back. They're making a
no.
They're making a comeback in Walmart.
They're not making a comeback. Puma.
But dude, what about
he was hard on the Puma. He wanted Puma.
What about that battle brand?
11-1-9. Man, I like 11. I think the ones have leaped 11 for me. It's 1-11-6 for me.
The new Fila.
The new
Fila. No, but seriously, like, what about that battle brand that like some high schools wear? It says battle across the chest. You know what I'm talking about?
Get
that brand.
Oh, no, man. Seth, you didn't spell it right. It's Fila. It's just Fila. No,
I think you thought it was some like French brand that was like fancy spelled.
Yeah, right.
Fila.
There you go.
Man.
Yeah, man. Another fun time with you, sir.
Yep.
Let's talk about your commit. Who did you guys pick up?
So we picked up 4-star running back Justin Thurman. He's originally from the St. Louis area. Went to D. Cement High School. Was friends with Kyron Williams, former Notre Dame running back. Current Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love, as well as current Notre Dame cornerback Christian Gray, who was a top 50 recruit for last year's class. St. Louis, I don't know how involved Michigan is in recruiting the St. Louis area, but they pump out elite prospect after elite prospect all the time. Justin Thurman is another one of those guys. He's got legit speed. My comparison with him, I don't know if you remember Theo Riddick. Phil from Notre Dame. He's like Theo Riddick. He's a receiving back. He's as fast as Chris Tyree, but he's a lot more physical.
Yeah.
So he's one of those like do-it-all kind of running backs, and I'm really excited about him. So he committed yesterday, I believe, and so I will be having an interview with him tonight at 7 for those who would like to check it out on the Week Zero Productions YouTube channel. But yeah, man, everything pretty cool. She's not even talking about anything. Dude, I feel you.
Man.
I feel you.
These Ohio people in here got me thinking like them. Yo, don't do that stuff. It's one thing we don't want.
Don't go to the dark side.
That's it. Pick up their ex-wife. When does anyone pick up their ex-wife?
That's the first call.
I'm going to stay out of that. That being said, Michigan obviously picked up a 4-star defensive lineman, Bobby Conca, in-state recruit in the 2025 class. They also, because we had to switch gears very quickly in terms of our cornerback recruiting, picked up a 3-star cornerback, Josiah Edmond, out of the state of Indiana. I like his tape. I'm going to be honest with you. I think his tape is good. He's a good athlete. He's got good length. He could turn into something.
Is he a 3-star?
3-star, yeah.
Hey, man. Indiana kids, they just ball out different.
I'm not even going to do this with
That's
you.
why he didn't go to Notre Dame, because he couldn't hang with the big boys.
Stop it. No, Notre Dame offered him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is it? He's a wide receiver, you said?
He's a corner.
Our corner? Our cornerback.
High 3-star. Thank you, Moose. He is very high 3-star.
Leonard Moore and Carson Hobbs. That's our backfield right now. We're good. We're good.
The other state also beat us to the punch with former Northwestern commit, and I believe he's a corner as well, but he flipped and went to the other state. I heard LJ got outworked.
Pull up Josh's comment. He said, I don't even answer my wife on the first call. Fuck you, me.
Yo. Not your wife, man. By the way, the comments and views of the people in the comment section are theirs and theirs alone, ladies. Don't come for
don't come for Phil.
These are their thoughts. What they do. That's code. Oh my God.
So how are we feeling? I mean, how excited is everyone for the season to start? We got what, 24?
Man.
Yeah, 24.
It's been
23.
I'm talking to my Wolverine fans here now. It's been over 1,300 days since we lost to that vile, disgusting team from Columbus. Mello, sorry. You haven't beat us in over 1,300 days. Phil is obviously single. Man, I don't know my first of all,
don't talk about his life.
Don't do me like that. I am not, sir. I'm just saying I'm staying out of I don't want no problems with the ladies. That's all I'm saying. But
you can't put a GIF in YouTube chat, I don't think.
I didn't want Michigan produce 4 and 5 star. I didn't know Michigan produced 4 and 5 star recruits. Too much. I was always trying to steal Ohio guys
to the toilet
bowl. Wait, the big house is not the toilet bowl. You guys play in the toilet bowl every week. That thing you call a horseshoe that actually does resemble a toilet bowl.
Exactly.
That thing is the shitter, and you play in it weekly.
Oh man. So
that
anyway,
we've reached the time.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say 24 days till college football.
24 days. It's going to be a glorious time. Michigan will start the season undefeated. Will end the season undefeated.
Michigan will start the season undefeated and then lose Notre Dame in the first round of the playoffs. There we go.
Well, oh my God. I'm not gonna do this today, man. We can't do this. First of all, you guys just need to take care of your business week 4.
We will
take care of business.
We will.
Or do the Wolverines have to come and do the work again? We laid the business at the feet of Penn State last season, but you can't send the Nittany Lion to do a Wolverines job. And if we have to, we're gonna have to clean up behind some fighting Irish people.
You know what? What we will do is when we get done, destroying Ohio State, I'll call you up, Phil, and I'll say, hey, all right, there's no need for y'all to do Ohio State dirty like that. We already did your job for you. All right. It's like It's like there's no need for you to show up to work. We got it. Got it for
Right.
you.
Right. By the
Well-
way, Michigan will be playing for a couple of things. With 11 wins, we will become the only team in college football with 1,000 wins. So there's that.
Hey, man. You know what? Like, we'll handle your lightweight for you, Phil. That's what Ohio
Yeah.
State is, right? They're your lightweight.
Seth says Ohio's going 9-3.
Yeah, I said Ohio State's going 9-3 too. Seth and me usually are on the same page, with the exception of my background, which he usually roast me on.
Well, you said one of those losses was going to be like Western Kentucky.
No, I didn't. I was joking. No, I said Notre Dame, Michigan, and I can't remember who else they play. Oh, Penn State.
Penn State. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Penn State just has a problem beating them. I just don't see Penn State.
They've split, haven't they? The last 6 years, haven't they split?
Has it?
I think so.
No, not the last 6 years. Definitely not.
Well, that's the Saquon Barkley team. The
OSU 14-0 national Chamos.
Chamos.
Nah, y'all probably the national Chamos. National Chamos. It's been 1,341 days since Ohio State beat Michigan. Thank you, Josh. Statistician Josh came.
We gotta get a clock, and we gotta have the actual. You need to get a clock, in your background,
right?
With the actual time,
right?
The days, the hours, the minutes, the seconds. We gotta
absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, we've reached that time in the show where we must bid you adieu. Ryan has to get ready for his other show because he's got multiple shows. Ryan, where can people find you?
Go over Week 0 Productions. Go give us a follow, subscribe, like. We still got that Michigan JJ McCarthy video up. If you guys can tune in and check that out. Also dropped the college football pump up hype video. Go give that a look as well. Going to be pumping out the Michigan football pump up here soon. So expect that in the coming days. But yeah, Northern Kentucky would be. But yeah, go over the Men of Many shows. Yes, I am. Thank you for that, Josh. So yeah, go. I'll be, like I said, I'm doing an interview tonight. If you would like, check that out. But yeah, go over Week 0 Productions on YouTube and give us a follow and subscribe.
Absolutely. Follow me everywhere at Maize Madman. Until next time, stay angry, my friends.
One more
AJ
thing,
McGothie.
One more thing. Yeah. One more thing, Phil. We will also be simulcasting tomorrow, the Week 0 podcast. We're doing the Big Ten quarterback rankings. We'll be simulcasting that on the Maize Madman channel as well. So all you Michigan fans that know that JJ McCarthy or JJ McGoat is the best quarterback in the Big Ten, please show up for that and tell my co-host how crazy they are for having the other state's quarterback at number 1.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Who did that? No.
You have to find out. You'll have to find out tomorrow.
That's disrespectful. We haven't seen whoever that quarterback is throw anything in a meaningful football game. I'm upset. We got to go.